She is a true leader and advocate for women and girls to thrive personally, academically, and professionally. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Asha Boston.
Greetings and good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude for the opportunity to address this event. To the office and Borough President Eric Adams, Ms. Glenda Silva, Ms. Lori Lewis, and Ms. Delilah Simmons, and so many more, thank you for allowing me and this opportunity to share a few words of encouragement at this grand celebration of Black history. I bring greetings on behalf of my family, the staff of my nonprofit organization, The Dinner Table, my church, Stuyvesant Heights SDA, and my alma maters, PS 299, Satellite West Academy, now Dock Street Academy, Brooklyn Friends School, and Agnes Scott College. In deep gratitude, I thank you again for welcoming me into this space. In 2015, a nervous rapper by the name of Kendrick Lamar entered the gates of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Upon his arrival to the West Wing, he was greeted with open arms and a warm smile by then-President Barack Obama, who embraced him and said, "Can you believe we're sitting here in this Oval Office?" Imagine that, a young Black man from Compton, California, with a complex childhood, the son of a gang member, who ultimately turned his love for writing into a multi-platinum record-selling music career, standing in the White House as an invited guest. And then his host, a young Black man from Honolulu, Hawaii, son of an immigrant with an even more complex childhood, who galvanized his passion for politics and immense skill of creating tangible solutions into a career as President of the United States. Both an anomaly of sorts, but what a powerful thing to not only imagine, but realize that in spite the obstacles of their past and the complex nature of our country's past, they could both be there in that room. Tonight, as we reflect, celebrate the past, present, and future of Black history in Brooklyn, I welcome each of you the same. Can you believe we're sitting here in this Borough Hall? Take a look to my right, your left, and you'll see James Howell, British immigrant and former mayor of Brooklyn. Now take a look to the back left, your back right, and you'll see Martin Kopfish, Dutch immigrant and also former mayor of Brooklyn. About 4 years ago, I embarked on a journey to better my understanding of gentrification by diving into the history of migration and Black neighborhoods in Brooklyn through a documentary series I created called A Time Before Kale. Through this process, I've learned so much about not just a place I love, but the resilience of our people. I've learned about neighborhoods like Weeksville, Caraville, and Seneca Village, all safe havens and heavens for freed, emancipated, and escaped Black men and women who were victims of slavery in the 16th and through the 16th to 19th century. I've learned of the battles fought and won over land ownership, and most importantly, I've learned about the streets and their names, about Garrett Nostrand and Adrian Hegeman. I learned about Rem and Henry Remsen and Hezekiah Pepperpoint and their famous families who donated land on the streets we now know as Remsen, Girolamo, Adams, and Johnson to give their beloved borough of Brooklyn its own city hall. And this great building of Borough Hall, completed in 1848, 21 years after slavery was abolished in New York City, 10 years after the founding of Weeksville, a time when the complexities of owning property and your legal right to vote stood at odds due to the sun-kissed hue of your skin. This building promised justice for all. So again, I greet you with warm and open arms as you reflect on the complex nature of our city's past and your own unique obstacles of our own personal journeys as residents who have not only lived in Brooklyn, but survived it. And I ask, can you believe we're sitting here in this Borough Hall? The theme of tonight's event is Black History's Next Chapter. But tonight I'd like to believe that this gathering is more than a new chapter, but the beginning of a brand new book in the extensive library catalog of Brooklyn's Encyclopedia of Black History. This night is beyond me, and as we begin this new book, it's about we, the same collective spirit of we that inspired community leaders like Shirley Chisholm and Marcus Garvey. And even in his inaugural speech, as he graciously took the baton of Brooklyn from Marty Markowitz, our own dear Eric Adams put it this way: today is not about me. Today is about we, the borough of Brooklyn. I do not stand for me, I stand for we, and you, and you, and you. I'm not here to be served, I'm here to serve. Tonight, tomorrow, the next day, and all the days after that. I am and will be because you are, because we are, because we. Tonight as we gather, as we celebrate, as we pray and cry and advocate, let us never forget that. I know our honorees haven't. From Mandy Bowen, who is inspired by the complex history she learned of the Black Wall Street, motivated to make a difference by founding the Black Wall Street app so that even a mere $10 that touches a Black hand can circulate in the community for more than its average 6 hours. To the ever so gentle and awe-inspiring Guy Bryant, whose hours spent in service in a day could never amount to what motivates him to take in over 50 young Black men who are aging out of foster care and give them a forever home. And most importantly, a key to the door that symbolizes their journey from crossing the threshold of a world who doesn't see them for who they are and into a space that believes that they can be great so long as they are themselves. To Breonna Thompson, who is guided by a mission to help people see and be the best versions of themselves, emotionally, mentally, and physically through cycling. To Janika Henry, who not only encourages people through her work at Chase, but in an interview about her steel pan success, said, "Always be the most organic you that you can be. There is no one else like you, and it's the only thing that can set you apart." And I'm sure her colleague from Chase, Cindy Chensi, would agree. Another woman of great multifacets, who in addition to her work at Chase, has a YouTube channel where she cooks authentic Haitian food under the guise that it feels good to make people feel good. And in that same realm of compassion, a Haitian sister by the name of Dr. Tamara Moise teamed up with the greatest Haitian American physician's assistant that Brooklyn has ever seen, Mr. Watson Phils, to create the Big Apple Urgent Care, providing low and affordable health care to service residents in need and those of us that are surviving Brooklyn. And then there's me. Not necessarily an honoree tonight, but if you've seen me up here shining, please trust and believe that it's because I am a reflection of you. Every day since 2015, I've opened my eyes and prayed to God for guidance as I've dedicated my life to the service of young Black and brown girls from Brooklyn through my nonprofit organization, The Dinner Table. The Dinner Table is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that creates safe space for young women ages 11 through 18 to receive college and career readiness services. Although we've faced many strides, it has been far from easy. In some of our greatest triumphs, I've experienced my greatest disappointments. I've been rejected by grants. I've stared at my bank account in the negatives. But all the while, I pushed forward because I truly believe that when you empower young Black and brown women who have a dream and give them the opportunity to reach their fullest potential, they'll reach it. And although it hasn't been easy, in the 5 years that we've been around, we've been able to service over 400 girls, providing them with workshops as Department of Education vendors, holding special events where we honor them, going across the ends of the borough to find older women who can come into the room and have dinner with them and act as mentors, because it's so important to see reflections of yourself succeeding. I want young women to believe that who they will be and who they are at 17 is just the beginning of their story. I am because they are. I am a reflection of each and every one of you, of Bed-Stuy, of Crown Heights, of East New York and East Flatbush, of Canarsie and Bensonhurst, Sunset Park and Fort Greene, of each square inch of landmass of Brooklyn, and each resident who has let go of an exasperated sigh from rising rent and the everyday survival. I am because you are Brooklyn. I am because we. And even though it's been tough, the greatest part about stories and next chapters is that how you start isn't how you finish. We see examples of how precious life is in experiencing the loss of cultural and neighborhood heroes like Nipsey Hussle, Kobe Bryant, Katherine Johnson, and even the late Bashar Jackson, more lovingly known as Pop Smoke. We all have the chance to pen the next chapter of Brooklyn, but we must start by recognizing that beyond what newcomers and naysayers say, we are overcomers. If Shirley Chisholm was here, she'd encourage us with her famous saying, "We must reject not only the stereotypes that others hold of us, but also the stereotypes we have of ourselves." And if the notorious B.I.G. were eavesdropping, he'd include one of his testimonials. "As I open my eyes and realize I've changed, I'm not the same deranged child stuck in the game." To my young Black boys and girls, we are more than what others say of our lived experience. I am more than who I was determined by doctors to be, an infant born at 1 pound and 1 ounce, so tiny fitting only in the palm of a hand, supposed to be hearing impaired, supposed to have ridden a short bus, supposed to be vision impaired, although I do believe that I'm about 20/20 in my left eye. But more than what others said I was supposed to be, I rose above it and have authored a new chapter of how I'll be remembered by my own words. So tonight, let us look to each other in love, compassion, admiration, and togetherness as we author our story by our own words. And to close, I'll end with a quote from my favorite Brooklynite, my 3-year-old nephew, Nathan Kane, whose parting words at bedtime include, "All right, love you, good night, Brooklyn."